I have many vintage aviation magazines from my father's collection and will be looking for interesting articles to share with you. This next short story is from the November 1927 issue of Popular Aviation, with a connection to Buffalo, New York, specifically Leslie Irvin of the Irvin Air Chute Company. The article, A Foreign Plane for Clubs, not only introduces a new airplane from a foreign manufacturer, but also explores its potential benefits for local airplane clubs. It highlights the plane's design features, performance capabilities, and competitive pricing, igniting a sense of anticipation among club members for the enhanced experience it could bring. The article also underlines the necessity for clubs to adapt to new technology, as it considers the possible challenges the plane might face in gaining acceptance, such as skepticism towards foreign products. This emphasis on adaptation instills a sense of urgency in the audience about the need for change in the airplane industry. Additionally, the article provides insights into the broader implications of international competition in the airplane industry, emphasizing how this could lead to increased innovation and better pricing for consumers. This stress on the potential for a brighter future in the industry instills a sense of optimism in the audience.
A Foreign Plane for Clubs by Lloyd S. Graham, published in Popular Aviation, November 1927. When Leslie L. Irvin, chief engineer of the Irvin Air Chute Company, Buffalo, New York, recently returned from his English factory, he brought with him to the Buffalo airport an English plane, which has attracted much interest among pilots passing through the port. When Colonel Charles L. Lindbergh was in Buffalo on his countrywide tour, he looked the plane over and wanted to fly it, but was too busy. He contented himself with saying that he was coming back to Buffalo after his tour and wanted a chance to fly it then. We have had cameras which would fold up and go into vest pockets for many years, but this plane of Mr. Irvin's is the first plane at the Buffalo airport which can be folded up and run into an ordinary garage. Moreover, the folding and unfolding can be done in a couple of minutes. For some time, Mr. Irvin has used the plane in England, where he has been looking for the operations of his company. So far as he knows, his plane is the first and only one of its kind to be actually used in flying on this side of the Atlantic. A word about Mr. Irvin himself, by way of introduction to those who don't know him. He started his air career when he was 14 years old by parachute jumping in California. Since then, he has been in the air much of the time, making literally hundreds of parachute jumps. Luckily, all of his jumps have been premeditated, that is, in the interests of tests and for exhibition purposes, and not from necessity. This plane is known as the de Havilland Moth, and Mr. Irvin says it is used chiefly in England, by private owners and also in the light plane clubs, which are subsidized by the government for the training of civilian flyers. The best thing about the plane, from Mr. Irvin's standpoint, is that it has a heavy feel in the air. That is, it feels like a much heavier plane and does not have the delicate light feel to the pilot which is common in most light planes. The length of the Moth is 23 feet and a half, while the wingspan is 29 feet. However, these wings are readily folded up to a width of 9 feet and 8 inches. It stands about 8½ feet of the ground. The weight of the plane, without passengers, fuel or oil, is a trifle more than 800 pounds. There are cockpits for one pilot and one passenger with dual controls. In the air with 2 persons, oil and gasoline, the weight is about 1,265 pounds, figuring the weight of each passenger at 160 pounds. The power plant in the Moth is a 4-cylinder air-cooled Cirrus engine. Mr. Irvin says that this motor produces a rate of climb of more than 600 feet per minute near sea level with a ceiling of 15,000 feet. Ordinary cruising speed is 75 miles per hour, but he has been able to crowd it on occasion up to 95 miles per hour. The motor is rated at 30 to 80 horsepower. In detail, Mr. Irvin says that the motor has a stroke of 130 millimeters and a bore of 110 millimeters. The cylinders are of cast iron and fitted with aluminum alloy heads. There are the usual cooling fins. Valves are of the overhead rocker type. Pistons are aluminum alloy. Piston rings are cast iron. Connecting rods are duralumin stampings of H-section, the bearing at the big end being white metal in a bronze shell. There is a 5-bearing crankshaft, front and rear bearings being roller, and the other 3 bearings white metal in phosphor bronze shells. The propeller is mounted directly on the crankshaft. There is a force-feed lubrication by means of an oil pump located in the bottom of the oil base. There is dual ignition with 2 magnetos and 2 sets of spark plugs. There is a dual zenith carburetor with altitude control. The gasoline tank is above the cockpits, forming the center and stationary section of the upper wing. It holds 15 gallons, English measure, and gives the plane a cruising radius of about 300 miles. Oil consumption is figured about 1 pint an hour. Mr. Irvin says that one of the chief uses of the Moth in England is for training civilians in the light aeroplane clubs, of which there are many at various points throughout the island. The English government is interested in this project, that it may have a large group of civilian flyers available in time of war. By subsidy, the government makes it possible for civilian flyers to become pilots at comparatively low cost. In England, the cost of becoming a pilot through training in a commercial school ranges from $750 to $1,000. In joining a light aeroplane club, the civilian who wishes to learn to fly pays a membership fee of about $15. A charge of approximately $7.50 an hour is made for flying instruction. This applies either to solo or dual flying. A minimum of 8 hours dual instruction is compulsory, but after that the amount of instruction depends upon the pupil. Most civilians can learn to fly, however, for from $100 to $150 in this way. When the pilot instructor thinks the beginner is sufficiently capable, the latter may take the tests necessary to obtain a license. These tests include those of performing solo, a physical examination, and an oral examination. In addition to this, the government also subsidizes the club itself, providing an initial sum of about $10,000 for equipment and an additional $5,000 per year for 2 years. In case of a complete cracking up of equipment, the government also provides half the cost of replacement should there be a complete loss or write-off. After members have learned to fly in club planes with club instructors, they can buy their own planes or occasionally use those of the club. Naturally, these club planes are held more or less in reserve for the pilot instructors and their pupils. Sometimes their schedules are filled for days in advance of flying time. This plan of instruction is quite popular, and at the time Mr. Irvin left England, the demand for instruction was greater than the facilities available.
In conclusion, the arrival of a foreign plane in local clubs represents both an opportunity and a challenge. While it introduces advanced features and competitive pricing that could enhance the experience, it also requires clubs to be open-minded and adaptive. Embracing such innovations can lead to a more dynamic and competitive airplane industry, benefiting enthusiasts with more significant choices and improved technologies. Not only did Leslie Irvin import the first de Havilland Moth to America, he was a significant figure in the history of aviation, mainly known for his contributions to the development of parachuting. Here's a quick biography of Leslie Irvin. Leslie Leroy Irvin was born on September 10, 1895, in Los Angeles, California, USA. Irvin developed an interest in aviation and parachuting at a young age, which led him to pursue a career in this field. Before making his mark in parachuting, Irvin worked as a stuntman in Hollywood. He performed various aerial stunts, which gave him practical experience and exposure to aviation. In 1919, Leslie Irvin made the first premeditated free-fall parachute jump using a parachute of his design. This jump marked a pivotal moment in parachuting history as it demonstrated the effectiveness and reliability of a manually operated parachute. After his successful jump, Irvin founded the Irvin Air Chute Company in 1924. The company became a leading manufacturer of parachutes and played a crucial role in advancing parachute technology. Irvin's design included a ripcord system allowing the parachutist to deploy the parachute manually. This innovation significantly improved the safety and practicality of parachuting, making it more accessible and reliable. During World War II, the company produced thousands of parachutes for Allied forces, which were vital for paratroopers and pilots during the war. Leslie Irvin received numerous accolades for his contributions to aviation and parachuting. His work laid the foundation for modern parachuting techniques and equipment. Irvin's innovations advanced military and civilian parachuting and contributed to the development of sport parachuting and skydiving as recreational activities. Leslie Irvin died on October 9, 1966, in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Bahamas. His legacy continues through the advancements in parachute technology and the widespread use of parachutes in various fields. Irvin established the Caterpillar Club, an informal association of people who have successfully bailed out a disabled aircraft using a parachute. The club's name was inspired by the caterpillar's ability to escape danger by dropping from a height and floating to safety. Members receive a pin in the shape of a caterpillar to signify their life-saving escape, a symbol of their courage and the life-saving potential of parachutes. Leslie Irvin's contributions profoundly impacted aviation safety and the development of parachuting, making him a pivotal figure in the history of flight and safety equipment. I don't know about you, but I enjoy these old magazines. They are filled with almost forgotten history, waiting to be discovered again as the day they were first published. These stories and articles, often overlooked in the fast-paced world of modern aviation, offer a glimpse into the pioneering days of flight and the people who shaped the industry. That's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. I'm excited about the next one and look forward to sharing more fascinating stories from these vintage aviation magazines with you.